Hey, I'm Joel Wanasek with Drumforge, and today I'm going to take you through the brand new Drumshotz update for the DF Classic Sampler. We are so excited about this. You have been asking for this for a while, and we wanted to do it just perfect. So today is the day. All right, let me show you how this works. So when you load a drum shot on a kit, you got to do it in the mixer, okay? So I want you to think about it like this. Each drum shot gets assigned to a card based off the architecture of a mixer. That was the most intelligent way to do it. So you're not going to find it anywhere else but in the mixer. And to add a drum shot, so for example, let's add a room to the snare. Let's hear it. Say we want a different room. You're just going to come up and click the plus, and you're going to see a browser open. Now, it's very, very important for you to understand something. So before we add that room sample here to the snare, right here is where you're going to set by browsing your files, okay? Super important that you understand this, because what's going to happen here is when you set a sample path for your drum shots and you want to put all your drum shots packs in there and any of your own wave samples that you'd want to load into this sampler, it's going to look for those samples every time it loads if you save a session. So for example, let's just say you've got the ultimate kick sample in there, and you take that sample out and put it in another folder, and it goes to find the ultimate kick. The sampler is going to get really mad at you. So make sure when you point this at a folder, you put your samples all in the same place. And if, for example, if you send it to a friend to work on a mix and you want to trade back and forth, make sure that they get the same files, because they just need to put them in their folder and the sampler will automatically scan and find that file. So that's super important. So when you select this folder, please don't take things out of it, which to me is common sense, but you never know. So you've been warned. I just wanted to say that. Okay, so now that we have our browser in front of us, let me just explain it. So I've got it put at my triggers, my trigger samples folder, which is a bit of a mess here because there's a lot of different stuff in here, but it also sorts by vendor. So I've had the same folder for over 15 years now. So it's just a mishmash. Now what's cool here is when I select the vendor folder, which is Drumshotz Joel Wanasek, you can see all the files here, but I can sort, for example, by kicks, by snares, whatever I want. Now to add a drum shot, it's super easy. So let's just hit play. Just click. Now, once you've selected the sound that you want, so let's say we like this room, there's a couple of cool parameters that you can use over here. So first off, we can flip polarity, very useful for kick drums and layering direct snares. There's a fader which controls your volume. See how much nicer that one shot already sounds, nice and blended. Now, you have control over the dynamics of this, which is so powerful because, for example, if you really want this to be aggressive and have every single one shot, regardless of MIDI velocity, which is why I picked this little fill here, to play back at the loudest, you can just do this. Or make it overly dynamic by doing it the opposite way. And everything in between. So between that volume and the Midi Gate, which I'm about to show you, you can make a one-shot sound like a multi-sample, very, very, very dynamic, and it's going to blend wonderfully with any kit that you got in the sampler. Okay, so let's take a look at the Midi Gate. And what it's going to do is anything that goes over this threshold will trigger a drum shot. So for example, if we only want the hardest hits, we could do something like this. And you can hear the sample only opens up on the loudest hits here in the performance. Whereas if I bring it down, all the way to the bottom, it triggers everything. You can cut off the attack time. You can lower the sustain. And you can adjust the pitch. So you can get pretty crazy with this. Awesome, super easy to use. All right, let's throw it in. Now, you'll see here, for example, if you break out your drums like you're used to, right? Like you'd see, you're not gonna see your drum shot anywhere else in here, but like I said earlier, the mixer, because it gets assigned to the card. So let me remove the breakout. You see here, the red indicates there's a drum shot, and you can see it's to the right of the snare, so it is assigned to the snare. Now, by default, the routing will go through whatever you have loaded. So for example, the snare, I loaded a preset, which is the heaviest metal ever. It's got some EQ and stuff. So this drum shot is going to be routed through this channel and playing through this DSP. If you want to bypass that, once you load it, you can put it anywhere else you want. For example, to any output, to any group. So let's put it to the shells. But now it's not using any of this EQ or clipping. So to remove a drum shot now, you're going to come up and you're going to do this and delete it. Or if you want to change it, you can just simply open it. Okay, so let's add another direct snare here and get funky with it. Let's try to find something real punchy. All right, let's run with that here. Let's dial it in. Get a little bit more dynamic. Sounds good. All right, check it out. I'm going to reroute it. The rerouting, like I said, is totally optional. I just have EQ and clipping, and I'd rather just get the raw sound. Hear them in solo. All right, now let's get a kick drum going here. So actually, for example, first, let me go to a part of the song where there actually is a kick drum. All right, let's go find a kick that slams. So let's go try Billy Decker here. I'll try the, go to kick drums in the category. Let's try some kicks. Sounds pretty brutal. Keep that really dynamic. Actually, hold on. I want to go back and edit that. Pitch it down a little bit. Now, what's cool here is just like we have all of these mixing features, right? The mixer on the Drumshotz has a special thing in the dropdown that you're not going to see anywhere else, and that is a MIDI function. And if you open the player, you'll see that that's that same section that you had, so you can adjust the dynamics, the pitch. Just try routing this to the shells bus. I actually kind of like it ran through the kick chain. Pull off the transient maybe. Check it out, muted drum shots. Say you don't like that kick and you're like, you know, I'm not feeling it. Let's try this one. Boom. Wow, that was really easy, wasn't it? Or hey, let's go see what we got here. You can see how powerful and easy it is to load drum shots or your own samples. Like I said, the most important thing is once you select a directory, you want to put all your files in there and you don't want to take any out at any point in time. And one final thing before we part that you got to be mindful of is, like I said, because these drum shots are attached to these drum cards, once you've got one loaded, if I come over here, for example, and change the kick, come back, that drum shot is now gone. Based off the sampler architecture and how it's written, there is no way around that. So just realize that is one of the few limitations. However, we think you'll enjoy using the drum shots so much and you're gonna love how they sound. So that's it. Enjoy drum shots. You're gonna love it. It's so powerful. Thank you so much.